Welcome back to Dame Pie Dailies, and on this installment of Monday Movie Reviews, we are going to be reviewing the most recent installment in the MCU timeline, The Thunderbolts. Or, should I say, no spoilers yet. And as always, we will be breaking up the review into two sections, non-spoiler and spoiler. First, I want to talk about the characters. I thought they were really good. I loved Yelena. We'll start there. I mean, pretty complex and dynamic, character arc throughout the film. Definitely starts like depressed, does not like her life, and kind of finds a family by the end, which is pretty cool. And definitely something you can tell she's looking for throughout the film. And she's just kind of more like the new Black Widow, but she does it really well. I actually kind of like her better in this role. And I think it definitely helps because she gets to play off of David Harbour's character, the Red Guardian, who's, her dad in a way, at least the closest thing she has to one. And he's just very optimistic, funny, over the top. And I think he does it really, really well. Like, it's fun. I also think the Ghost over here, really nice to have a character that doesn't just punch and shoot, because that's what everyone else does pretty much in this movie, and actually have some semblance of superhero powers, the super part. Also, John Walker's U.S. agent, very fun character, because you can tell he doesn't want to be grouped into this group of people. He's refusing to accept I'm a military, I have experience, but at the end of the day, he's made the same mistakes that these other characters have made, and he is right there with them. And there's Bucky at the bottom. I mean, Bucky is great. He's always great. It's great to have the Winter Soldier back. And I do like that they kind of give him a backseat, because he's had plenty of chances to be in film. The third movie that they ever made with Captain America. And it was a nice anchor point for the rest of the film. And finally, Taskmaster, which is over there. And I mean, very underused. Was disappointed, honestly. They were never really my favorite character to begin with. So I'd say that there was definitely some more you could have done with them. But, there's more films to come, and who's to say what will happen. Next up, I want to talk about Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. Thought that she was really good, a fantastic antagonist because of her moral gray area, being kind of like this new Nick Fury, but if Nick Fury was kind of evil and didn't really care what he had to do to get what he wanted. And I think that that's kind of fun, especially if she's kind of establishing herself as that new Nick Fury. It would make for some really interesting moral dilemmas, how to handle them. I also loved her assistant Mel. I really want them to do more with her, but I'll talk more about that in spoilers. I think I have to talk about Bobby, depending on which character is talking to him. I mean, he's great. Louis Pullman, fantastic job here. He's pretty funny, and he plays the character well. He establishes a brand new character very quickly. It's fun to see what he does with the character going forward. I mean, he is Sentry. That's kind of an obvious point of the film. The juxtaposition there between the two sides of him is very interesting, and I'd like to see where they take that with Doomsday coming up here soon. I also really like that they were just actually saving people. They weren't trying to save the entire world. They were just trying to help one person, and if they could do that, then they felt like they got a win. And that just kind of is a test to the entire film as a whole. These characters, they just want to help one person. If they can just do that, then they're doing something more meaningful with their lives. And I think that was a really cool aspect of this film that's very different from a lot of Marvel films. It's we have to be the hero that saves everybody. It's maybe we just need to be the hero that can save somebody. I also think that the depiction of mental health here is really well done. I think that it is kind of weird to see superheroes be oh yeah, my life kind of sucks sometimes, and I'm sad about that, and I don't know how to handle it. Who would you go to handle something like that if you're a superhero or in that situation? Now let's talk about some things that I didn't like as much. There's not much. I mean, as far as Marvel films have come lately, it's been pretty good, and that's maybe a low bar, but I think if you would have stacked this up against some other Marvel movies a few years ago or before Endgame, you would have been yeah, this is actually pretty good. I think one of my biggest gripes is this movie needed to come 2 years ago. I think it would have brought a whole different level of hype to the cinematic universe that we have right now, and would totally change our perspective on going into Doomsday. I also have a problem with some of the underutilized characters in this film. Like I said, Taskmaster was just kind of a throwaway character in this one, and it felt like there was a lot of really cool things you can do with that, considering the power set there. But someone has to take the fall here, and Taskmaster. I'd also say another thing that's just kind of similar is just the typical Marvel tropes of jokes and kicking and punching, but at least there was no big lasers or duplicate aliens that you could copy paste. So there was good and bad things with that. They find ways to make the action interesting, but it's also still just your typical MCU action. There's nothing outstandingly spectacular about it. Now I'm going to get into some spoilers. I'm super excited for this, so you've been warned. And two of the bigger spoilers here are going to be the fact that the Fantastic Four come into the 616 universe and they will most likely be seeing each other in Doomsday. And of course the fact that the asterisk meant that they are going to be the new Avengers as revealed today to the public if you haven't seen the movie already. Okay, of course the next thing we got to talk about is Sentry. I mean, Sentry's power set here, insane. It's, similar to the comics in the fact that he is like impossibly powerful, and watching them try and fight him in the end is like hilarious because it's like when you see that scene in Superman and people are like throwing stuff at him, or that bullet goes and just bounces off his eyeball. Like that's just kind of the situation that you're looking at here. I'm excited to see what that ends up bringing. And obviously we got to talk about the Void. This Void character is, evil, clearly representing total darkness here. And I thought it was really well done. You obviously know what's coming. One of the biggest problems in this movie is that you constantly expect things to kind of play out the way that they end up playing out. Now there's still moments where you're like, whoa, that was insane. Did not see that coming. But then you think about it for a second, you're like, oh, well, it'll end up fixing itself. So, oh well. But I do like the Void character, and definitely the visuals of how they create the Void character really cool. I hear they pulled inspiration from the unfortunate tragedies of Hiroshima and how when the bomb went off, it just left residue of people like this, like the shadow that you see here. And that is a very eerie visual in and of itself for a film, but also the real world connection makes it even that much more eerie. Like watching someone exist there and then just a shadow was like off-putting, and it didn't feel right. And you're like, oh crap, like this feels real and kind of terrifying if you were in that moment and you got to see that. Like that's kind of as close as you can get in a Marvel film to make something graphically scary without, tapping into a rated R rating or film. Talk about one of these characters, Taskmaster here, who I've been talking about all this whole video, just killing her off. Thought it was bold, was like, okay, fine with it, honestly, because I didn't really like the character to begin with, but it is what it is. So I want to briefly talk about Mel's character. Thought it was really fun. It was a good character. She was funny. She also was a nice moral compass and connected well with some of the Thunderbolts, especially Bucky, of course. And I would like to see her take on more of a man in the chair kind of vibe in the future, maybe in Doomsday for the new Avengers, and I think that would connect really well. All right, so now it's time for our wrap up. And if you want to know more about the end credit sequences, just take a look at the link down below. But I thought the movie was fun. I thought it was, had a lot of heart. I thought it was funny, had some good action sequences, great characters, and it really just got me excited for the future of the MCU with Doomsday, Fantastic Four, and the TV shows that are coming out, and definitely spiced up the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it desperately needed to too. Now, was it the perfect movie? No, it definitely still had its flaws, and it's being compared to worser Marvel content as of late. So, do I still think it's great? Yeah. And should you go see it in theaters? Definitely. It was really good. But is it perfect? No. However, it did spice up the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and so that I will give it a 4 out of 5 on my spice scale, and I also gave it a 4 out of 5 on my Letterboxd. So let me know what you think down below.